If you've ever played competitive Pokemon in any capacity, you know about the move Protect. It's one of the most important moves in the official competitive Pokemon format, VGC. And you can find it on almost every top team in every tournament. And if you aren't a regular viewer on this channel, you probably don't know this, but there is a rather large subset of AndyLa fans that absolutely hate the move Protect. Constantly, they are begging me to stop putting Protect on my team when I see them using moves like Wide Guard. And they tell me, that's not Protect, that's Wide Guard. Well, today, I've decided that enough is enough. I'm setting out to prove that not only are moves like Wide Guard just Protect with flavor, but to prove that every single move in Pokemon is just a variation of Protect. Buckle in, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. Protect is a status move introduced in the very first generation of Pokemon games, and its effect does exactly what you would expect it to do. It protects the user from all incoming attacks and status moves for one turn. Now, there are some status moves that go through Protect. Don't worry about them for right now. This would be absolutely stupid broken if it wasn't for the fact that every time you successfully use Protect, it lowers the chances of you being able to use it again on the next turn. The first bunch of moves we have to prove are easy enough. Detect is functionally exactly the same move as Protect. The only difference is that it has less power points, or PP. Spiky Shield also operates exactly the same, with the additional effect of dealing a little bit of extra damage to any Pokemon that uses a contact move. King Shield, Silk Trap, Baneful Bunker, Obstruct, and Burning Bulwark are almost all exactly the same as Protect, but as a price for their additional effects, they only block moves that deal damage. All of these moves utilize an in-game calculation to determine their success rate when utilized on consecutive turns, but they're not the only moves that affect the success rate of protection moves. The moves Wide Guard, Quick Guard, and Endure also affect the success of these moves if they are used the turn before them, with Endure even using the same calculation for its own success rate. Therefore, the moves Wide Guard, Quick Guard, and Endure are all just Protect. Now, there are several moves that provide protection from certain effects that I would argue are also just variations of Protect. Mat Block is a move that provides the exact same protection that Protect would to your entire side of the field, with the caveat that it can only be used on the first turn that the Pokemon is on the field. Crafty Shield is a move that provides both Pokemon on your side of the field protection from just status moves for an entire turn. In fact, you could argue that moves like Safeguard and Lucky Chant are just hyper-specific protection moves that work over several turns, or moves that raise your defense or lower your opponent's stats or just half protects, but we don't have to do all that. What if I told you that there was a move I left out earlier? A move that both affects the success rate of protection moves and uses the same calculation for its own success. What if I told you about Max Guard? Max Guard is a move that was only available in the Generation 8 Pokemon games, and was only usable by Pokemon that had Dynamaxed. Its function is essentially Max Protect. It fully protects the user from even moves that are not covered by normal Protect, but Max Guard doesn't just happen if the Dynamax Pokemon uses Protect. Oh no! Max Guard doesn't just happen even if the Pokemon used any protection move. No. Max Guard happens if any status move is selected by a Dynamax Pokemon. And that means that every status move is just Protect. But Andy, what about all the moves that were introduced after Gen 8? I can hear you typing down in the comments, alright? And you're right. You're right. Even though they would probably also turn into Max Guard if they could be used by a Dynamax Pokemon, I have no way to prove that. So, let's take a second to go through all of the moves that were introduced in Scarlet and Violet. Snowscape is basically just Hail, which means that it's also just Protect. Likewise, Chilly Reception is just Snowscape that switches you out, so it's also just Protect. Doodle is just Roleplay, but for you and your friend, which means that it's also just Protect. Dragon Cheer is just a weird dragon focus energy for your friend, and since focus energy is Max Guard and Max Guard is Protect, then Dragon Cheer is also just Protect. Shed Tail is just Baton Pass plus Substitute. Tidy Up is a normal type Dragon Dance. Fillet Away is just Weird Shell Smash, and Spicy Extract is just Screech with extra steps, so all four moves are also just Protect. The hardest one to prove is Revival Blessing. We've never really had a move like Revival Blessing. If you don't know what it does, it functions just like a Revive, reviving a fainted Pokemon and restoring 50% of its maximum HP. And I think that we get there on the last little bit there. We have tons of moves, like Heal Pulse, that restore 50% of a Pokemon's HP. And if Revival Blessing is just a variation of Heal Pulse, then Revival Blessing is also just Protect. Now, here's the really difficult part of the video. If you thought that everything up to this point was a stretch, then I want to apologize in advance for what you're about to watch. Now, we have to look at damaging moves. And there are a lot of ways that we could go about proving that every damaging move is just Protect. In fact, there are so many ways that I feel like it would only be fair to go through a few of them. Now, let's start with something simple. Let's start with Fly. Fly is a 90 base power move that takes 2 turns to use. On the first turn, the user flies up into the air and is unable to be affected by any move until the user moves and deals damage on the next turn. Sounds pretty familiar, doesn't it? Well, that's just Protect for a turn, and then you attack. I can hopefully hear you saying, "You're right! That does sound an awful lot like a damaging move that just Protect for a turn." Very easily, we can say that Dig, Dive, Phantom Force, and Shadow Force are all just Protect, as they all have this same charging turn with invulnerability. Very easily, any damaging move is just Fly without the charging turn. Not good enough for you? Let's do a few more. Pollen Puff is a 90 base power special damaging move that has a weird effect when you target your teammate with it. It heals them for 50% of their maximum HP. Well, that's just Heal Pulse. And Heal Pulse, as we have already established, is just Max Guard. And Max Guard, as we have already established, is just Protect. Very easily, this also applies to Present, which has a similar effect, albeit on a random chance. And very easily, we can make our way through every damaging move and prove that every damaging move is just Protect. Still not good enough for you? Alright, then let's talk about a little mechanic called flinching. And a little move that is the premier flinch-causing move, Fake Out. Fake Out is a 40 base power move that can only be selected on the first turn that a Pokemon is on the field, and it has a 100% chance to flinch any Pokemon that it hits. And if you aren't familiar with how flinching works, let's talk about that really quick. Basically, any Pokemon that flinches is completely immobilized for that turn and cannot attack, effectively protecting all of the other Pokemon on the field from that Pokemon for 1 turn. Hey, that's the magic word. Especially in a single battle, moving before your opponent and flinching them is effectively the same as clicking Protect for a turn. From Fake Out, we can immediately go to Upper Hand and make our way through every move with a flinch chance, and then every damaging move in the game. If that's still not enough, we could be here for hours, okay? We could be here explaining how every move with a burn chance is just Will-O-Wisp, or how every move with a chance to paralyze, or a chance to poison is just Thunder Wave or Poison Gas, and the list just goes on. I realize that this is an insane argument to make, okay? And probably nothing that I say will even convince you that Wide Guard is just Protect. But hopefully at least you had a good time here, and you'll want to be here the next time I post a video. And if that's the case, go ahead and subscribe and like the video and leave a comment while you're down there. How would you prove that every Pokemon move is just Protect? My name's Andrew. I'll catch you guys next time. Once upon a time, man, I heard that I was struggling. Came from a gym where power creep wasn't coming in. Face long, stats tight, defense up, shack height. Sturdy on me, sash like, got that TM last night. Hit me with that good move, make this mount act right. Bast boys, better hit that builder. I know that's right. Big Bast busting out these body presses, bout to buy a body bag and